So there's no doubt that jazz and blues and rhythm and blues were in the roots of your playing.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, so.
Well, you know, it's just a natural progression because the church, of course, had like the gospel music, which is where we start off, kind of has that same feeling in the blues. And then, of course, the rhythm and blues were the thing that we heard on the radio all the time. So you had to be influenced by that. I mean, they had WZUM, which they just brought back, as a matter of fact. And then they had Whammo, and so you heard all the, you know, the current artists at that time. But in my house, my mother listened to Brooke Benton, you know, that kind of stuff. So she used to have Earl Grant, you know, and was it Ebb Tide or something? She used to love that. So that was the stuff that I grew up listening to, along with some of the older R&B stuff, like the Flamingos and the Platters, and you know, before I got into like the Temptations and Smokey Robinson and those guys. But most of the stuff that was brought into our house was jazz. My brother, you know, Bill, he would always bring home Carmen McRae. I remember he brought home Jack McDuff, Hot Barbecue, you know, and I'm like, who is that guitar player? George Benson. It's just like, oh my goodness, man. It just took me to a different place, man. Because when you're learning, you have to learn at the level that you can comprehend. And this is not to put down any of the other artists other than George Benson. You start off with Kenny Burrell, because Kenny Burrell played in a manner that was understandable on my level.
To you, yes.
To me, right. A very deep cat, you know, of course. Then there was Grant Green, you know, another great influence.
My favorite guitar player.
Yeah. I kind of stayed away from Wes because I didn't know how to play an octave at that time. So it was like nothing he played was anything that I could play. So I stayed away from that. And I listened to George Benson because I couldn't play any of that too, because it was like 3 times faster than anything I could ever play. And so Kenny Burrell was like one of my main influences. Beautiful stuff, just absolutely beautiful. You know, like the Tender Gender and all those, you know, the Cadet stuff that he did on Cadet Records, and Grant Green, you know, all that stuff. It was just wonderful, man. So that was just great, you know, and that's really my main influence to getting into jazz was like through my brother and my mom, because basically that's all we had in the house. Probably if I had money on my own, I probably would have been into playing R&B, you know, instead of playing jazz.
Popular. In your time, the music came to you in the house. It was on the radio, it's what your family played and all of that. Today, influences are different. How do you see the influence for young people, young musicians, aspiring musicians? How do you see their influences?
Well, you know, it's funny you say that because I have some young guitar students and they want to learn jazz. And so, I mean, I think it's important for you to explain to them how you came to the music, you know, so that they have like a baseline from which, you know, they can measure your growth from your starting point. But when I look at them, I say, well, you know, you want to play blues, but you are showing me people that you listen to who were influenced by the original guys. So in other words, you're getting kind of like a second or third generation of the original guy, and you think that these guys actually wrote these tunes.
Mhm.
I wish I could think of this one particular tune that Albert King played, and it was some other young group, I won't say her name, that played the tune, and he thought that they wrote it. I'm like, no, man, this was Albert King, man.
Mhm.
I said, it's good that you have these influences. It's good that they keep the music going, but you want to know where this music came from, how it came to be, what it meant to the original composer of the music. You have to go back to the source, man. You got to listen to these guys. It's very important, man, to get a bass line from which you can build on.